Hello everyone. So today we got to play Navegador. This is from my husband's Christmas haul. Hopefully he's happy with it. So generally you are a merchant, and you're traveling.
You're an explorer.
Well, you're an explorer. You're traveling down the African coast. Um,
And the Asian coast.
and the Asian coast, all the way to
Nagasaki in Japan.
Nagasaki, Japan. Okay, so you're really
From
trekking
Portugal to Japan.
Portugal to Japan. You're trekking it. All right, and in the process, you are going to explore the territory, colonize the locations, essentially go to the market to trade goods to increase your wealth. And throughout the whole process, obviously, you're trying to get the most victory points. And you do that by different mechanisms throughout the game. So that's a general synopsis. Does that pretty much cover everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much it.
So we'll trek in quality of pieces. So it's pretty standard fare. You have wooden meeples, wooden ships, and a wooden token marker, wooden buildings. So there's nothing.
The coins are cardboard. We're using our victory point chip. Coin. They're the same. They're poker chips coins, but it comes standard with cardboard chips that look sort of period, but they're kind of
Yeah. So the board looks really nice.
Yeah, the board's is a map, so it's not real exciting, but it is pretty nice as far. It's a threefold board, which is unique for most Rio Grande games. Don't give you something this large, and then your personal player boards are completely functional, but not real exciting either. But Rio Grande's not really known for their fancy art or anything. Their games are fairly standard.
Yeah, there's nothing like. Honestly, I ordered the game because I saw the description for Randy's Christmas, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this will be something I liked." And then when it came here and I looked at the back of the box, I was a little disappointed on the way it looked. Nothing was bad. It just wasn't.
It wasn't anything to be excited about, but that's just the appearance. We're getting spoiled by all these nice upgraded games that we keep getting, or doing our own upgrades, but. When you get something from Rio Grande, you know what you're getting, and it's usually a quality gameplay, usually not real in-depth play, but you're getting something that is fun and uses some unique mechanics, but it doesn't necessarily look real pretty on the table.
Yeah. So, and I think that's pretty consistent here. So what would you give it as score-wise for quality?
I'm probably going to give it a 6 as far as, there's nothing that's outstanding about it, but it is slightly better than Catan, which is our 5 level.
Yeah.
So I would give it probably a 6, mostly because the board is, above standard as far as...
Yeah, the board is really
nice.
And
then the player boards are actually a little better than what you normally would get. And then, the wood is pretty common and standard. There's nothing real exciting there.
Yeah. So, absolutely agree. I would give it also a 6. Now we can move directly into theme. So the theme obviously is you're a merchant,
this is
time of Magellan,
15th
maybe?
century. 15th
Yeah.
century. So the theme, there's actually I believe there was a book of Portuguese explorers in the box, which was kind of neat. That gives you a little bit of history.
Okay, cool.
And then in addition, there's the rule book and a little, like a cheat sheet to get started. This isn't real exciting, but it does give you a little bit of guidance. And we've got, the theme is kind of, I can't think of anything better for it. It's an exploration thing. So you're going to have a map and you're going to move places and you're going to do things. You could set it whatever time period.
Yeah, and I think the art does well with the time period that it's set in.
Mm-hmm.
I think theme, they stayed consistent. Is it super exciting? No, but it's an explorer merchant game.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do with
exactly.
it?
No, thematically, I think it's probably a 7. It's for what the time period is, it's interesting for that time period, and it depends on your interest in history. A lot of these games are that way, and when they're historic, it's if you have an interest in that period and that geographic location, it's probably more interesting to you and appealing.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. So you gave it a 7. I'll agree with the 7.
You're being very complacent tonight.
I know, I am. Well, I'm excited to get to gameplay. So
okay.
So next we're at rules.
This is where it suffers a little bit. This is definitely a game that was written in a different language and translated to English. That's for sure. There are lots of bad translations in here. It made it harder to read and interpret. I mean, the layout of the manual is actually pretty well. I mean, it's pretty well done. It's if it weren't for the translation struggles, it would have been probably been an 8. But because of the translation struggles, I'm going to give it more like a 5. And there's sentences that are completely duplicated, like the same sentence right back to back. And then there's things that they try to explain, and then it's the explanation, because it's in kind of a garbled English, makes it very difficult to understand, and you have to read through it a few times. And then of course there was the rule that we didn't understand halfway through the game because it wasn't written in real clear on how you use some of the ships. So I think this is probably more of a 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it does have some nice examples. The examples really did help, but they weren't fully explanatory in the sense that when we knew that we messed up on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's not bad. It's just not great. It's not even good.
I trust your judgment in these things because, again, I didn't read the rules. So the next thing we get to talk about gameplay. I'm super excited. There's a lot going on as far as gameplay goes. Okay, so first thing is your player board. And your player board, so there are a couple of things that you can do. You can build colonies, build factories, explore, build a shipyard, and build a church. Okay, and each one of those items are worth a certain amount of victory points. And throughout the game, you can make those each thing worth more victory points based on choices that you make, specifically with the privileges action.
Yeah. So I want to point out that the actions on this are determined based on a rondel system, and that is really key to the game, and actually probably the coolest thing in the game is that you take a choice of an action, and there's we'll show you a picture. I'm going to try to summon this again, and this time let's see if my magic works. All right, I'm summoning a picture of the rondel so you can see it. All right, so basically around this rondel, you're going to take actions, and wherever you choose to start, from that point forward, you're going to be able to move up to 3 spaces around the rondel in clockwise order and take any of those actions for free. If you choose to go beyond 3, then you lose ships from the board. So for each space you move, you have to give up a ship, and ships are pretty pricey, so you don't want to just do it willy-nilly. But if you're just desperate to get to that next action that you just want to beat the other players to, you might want to think about doing it, particularly late in the game. But the different actions you have are market, colony, privilege, ships, building, sailing, and workers. So market's basically how you get money in the game.
Yeah,
it's the main source of money.
The market, I think, is the coolest thing in this game for me. The thing that I loved about the market is, yes, you sell goods and at certain prices, but there is a way to increase the prices by processing those goods through your factories. And I don't think I've seen that particular mechanic. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's other ways to make the prices go up, but not...
Here, we'll give you a market view.
But I think it's super interesting and super, so realistic and so fantastic. Mm-hmm. I loved this mechanism, and that's what called to me. That's what made this game really cool for me. So overall, I really did enjoy this game.
We just talked about market. I know it's your favorite part, but we haven't explained the other ones. So colony, that's where, as you're exploring, you're going to discover regions, and each one of those is going to have one of the commodities that you can sell in the market. So colonizing will let you get the capability of trading that good. Otherwise, there's factories that you can get through building action, which will let you produce that good.
Yeah, and the building action.
That's where the uniqueness of the market is, because for each commodity, and there's three, there's sugar, gold, and spice. You can either produce or trade that good, and you can't do both. You can do each one though. So depends on whether you've got factories for it, or for processing it, or if you've got the good to trade. I wouldn't use
produce; it would be processing or selling the good.
Yeah. So those will let you either increase or decrease the value, the market value of the good. So it's a unique mechanism, because while you're selling one, somebody else might build it up and get profit from doing that to help you out. So you could have a partnership system going between you and your opponents, which is really cool. So then there's the privileges, as Miranda mentioned earlier, that give you the multipliers for your victory points. That action you're going to take once when you go to the space, and it costs you your workers. So workers action lets you build up your workers, which will also be useful because you have to have 2 workers per each colony you take, and you also it determines which buildings you can buy, which workers you have, how many workers you have. So there's that, and then ships. You have for ships and workers. You have buildings that let you generate those, which are churches for workers and shipyards for ships. And based upon the number of those you have, is the number of ships or workers you can buy at a discounted price of $50 each. Otherwise, you're paying whatever the market rate is, and that can get really pricey. And then does that cover everything? Oh, sailing. Sailing is how you explore. So that
it's just moving.
Moves your ships, and also is what determines what opens up the colonies. So in order to colonize, you have to have already explored. So all of those mechanisms are, the actions you can take in the game, and it flows nicely. But the real key is that rondel that lets you move around to get to those actions. And you'll spend a lot of time in frustrations. Okay, well, I really want to do this, but I can't get there without spending a lot of ships to get there. All right, back to you. You can say whatever you.
Well, again, I thought it was a wonderfully balanced game. So even though I was able to get more of the in-game scoring tokens, we weren't that far off. We were only 60.
She still won.
Seven. It looks 7 or 8 points apart. I was scoring 160.
You don't have to rub it in.
And then you got 150. I can't read.
Yeah, it's not important. She won. She just wants to rub it in.
No. But the fact is that we were close. Even though I got more of the tokens, you were able to utilize the ones that you did have to quite the extent. So I thought that was pretty.
Yeah, there wasn't a runaway winner, which is nice. I mean, it was for a 2-player game. It wasn't badly done. I mean, I thought it
was great. Yeah, as a 2-player.
That's what I'm saying. My concern always is when you play a game that's designed for up to 5, that a 2-player version of it comes out to be kind of lame. But this one didn't feel that way, which is good.
No, I completely enjoyed this as a 2-player. I loved it. I think it'd even be even more interesting with more players.
I definitely think it would be more interesting with more players.
But this is still pretty fantastic, I think.
Yeah, it didn't feel lacking with only 2 players.
This felt like a legitimate game. So I'm going to press you. Give it a score.
It was better than I was expecting. I mean, it wasn't. I was expecting. I mean, obviously, I put it on my wish list for a reason, but given the fact that it's a Rio Grande game, I always go in with a certain level of expectation because I know what Rio Grande typically is.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this one an 8. It's not up to the par of 9 or 10, I don't think, and 8 might be pushing it, but I think it's better than what a typical Rio Grande game is. It's not heavy by any means, and it's something I would call it a solid medium game as far as the complexity. It's not something you're going to start out and just want to jump right into as a learner, beginning. novice gamer, I should say. But it's something that's not real hard to pick up if it weren't for the rule book being as badly translated as it was. So I think it's probably a solid, firm, medium game for anyone who's looking at trying to figure out what complexity level. It looks more complex on the board than it actually is, as far as because it's a very busy board. But I think an 8's a fair score for this game.
I think 8 is very good for this. I hope they make an expansion for this.
Well, I don't remember what year this game was. So we can find out. It was. Is there a year on here? Well, maybe I can't find out. Not easily, because it doesn't have a year on it. Usually they have a copyright year on it. So, nope, doesn't have a year. Guess it never came out. This game does not exist. But it's not new. It's been out a while. So I would assume if they would make an expansion, it probably would have come out by now.
Oh, well. I mean,
Rio Grande isn't known for making a lot of expansions. So
this is a solid 8 game. This is a great game. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it again.
It was fun.
So I think that covers everything. Is there any other comments you want to say? Do you enjoy your Christmas gift?
I enjoyed it, and we're sitting in another Christmas gift, which I'm enjoying as well. These chairs rock. I mean, they spin, they rotate, they're office chairs, but they also have capability of massage built into them. But the cord to do it is like maybe 3 inches long. So as long as you can plug the cord into a USB socket that's 3 inches away, that's really cool. So maybe if you had a game table with built-in USB, which we don't have yet.
Yeah, there's plans.
There's next Christmas.
You're being optimistic. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I had a blast tonight, and hopefully you guys did too. And we will talk to you later. Oh, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you'd like to see what more we could do. Bye.
Bye.